Vanakkam. Welcome to our course on SAP Materials Management. A purchase order is a formal request sent to a vendor to supply certain goods or services under the stated conditions. In this session, we will discuss how to create purchase orders manually while discussing various elements of purchase orders. Before going into the session, we will see the answers for the quizzes we discussed in the last session. In general, purchase requisitions contain vendors, true or false. False, because in general, purchase requisition is raised by the user department. Vendors are finalized by the purchasing department. So normally they do not contain vendors, but it is for if it is for the production items, regular purchasing items, already purchase info record is there, source list is there. Those things are decided, then a purchase requisition may be having the vendors. But normally when the user is raising purchase requisition, vendors will not be there. Purchase requisitions are internal documents or external documents. Of course, purchase requisitions are internal documents. What are item categories? Item category defines whether an item required or it can have a metal number, account assignment, goods receipt or invoice receipt. Item categories are displayed depending on the document type. So we discussed various item categories. Please explore them and understand them because it is very important for MM user and consultant. What is the meaning of request date in purchase requisition? The request date is the date on which purchase requisition is created either manually or through MRP. Again, there are different dates we can see in the purchase requisition. Please understand them because it will help us to understand when it was created, when the delivery date is coming, when it has to be released, etc. How to stop processing a purchase requisition? By blocking the item in the item details of purchase requisition, a purchase requisition can be blocked or stopped for further processing because there may be many reasons. A requirement have been changed, vendor might have been changed, or management would have asked to stop this purchase. So we need to have this option. What is the purpose of creation indicator in the contact person tab in the item section of purchase requisition? This creation indicator helps to find out how a purchase requisition was created, that is mode of creation, whether it was manually created or through MRP or through maintenance order or through production order. What is the impact of the fixer indicator in the quantities dates tab? Purchase requisition without fixer indicator will be updated by MRP run. If the fixer indicator is fixed, that particular purchase requisition has to be changed manually only. What is the purpose of the tracking number in the purchase requisition? The tracking number entered by the requisitioner helps to identify a particular person's purchase requisition or related projects, etc. For example, there may be a new line installation or there may be a new cost saving project. For those kind of things, we can create purchase requisitions with reference to that particular project or cost saving or line erections with a tracking number so that we can get all related purchase requisitions with this tracking number. In the last session, we discussed what are the various elements in purchase requisition, how to manage purchase requisition. Now we are going to discuss how to create purchase orders. Also, we'll understand various elements in purchase orders. As discussed in the beginning, a purchase order is a formal request to a vendor to supply certain goods or services under specific conditions. We can create purchase orders without reference or with reference to a purchase requisition, a request for quotation, or another purchase order. When we enter the data related to purchase order, system suggests default values. For example, it suggests the ordering address as well as the terms of payment and freight from the vendor master record, that is a business partner record. If I maintain a metal master of a given metal in SAP, system suggests the metal short text, metal group, delivery time, goods receipt time, these kind of things. If a purchasing info record already exists, system copies a price proposal to the purchase order. and we can send purchase order to a vendor or carry out a stock transport order in another plant belonging to the same company. With the stock transfer order, we can take into account associated freight cost in the purchase order. We will discuss more about stock transfer order in a session on interplant orders. We need to specify in the purchase order whether the material is delivered for a stock or for direct consumption. That is, whether it is there for cost center or asset or project. The goods receipt and invoice verification are usually carried out based on the purchase order. We can minimize data entry time by creating purchase order items with reference to existing purchase requisition, RFQ or purchase order. We can also enter purchase order without reference to the preceding documents in the system. If we want assistance in choosing the vendor, when you create the purchase order, we can also use the source determination function in SAP. The system will suggest possible vendors based on the defined sources of supply, which is taken from the scheduling agreements and info records, and if needed on the basis of the master data like source list and quota arrangement. So maintaining proper master, maintaining the proper transactions will help to improve the productivity of the purchase orders. Here we see that how a purchase order will be created manually, right? Which is the transaction is ME21N. We will discuss it. And also a purchase order can be created from a purchase requisition. And also maybe we can have the purchase requisitions based on the requisition assignment or automatically conversion, those kind of things. See, the conversion from purchase requisition manually or conversion automatically, those things we will discuss in the next session. In this session, we will create purchase requisition directly into the system. The transaction code to create purchase order is ME21N, with the menu path is shown here. Like many documents in SAP, purchase order consists of document header and one or more items. The document header contains information that refers to the entire purchase order. Example of the details are document currency, the document date, and terms of payment. The item part of the document contains data describing materials or services which are getting ordered. We can maintain additional information for each item, for example, delivery schedule, item-based text, etc. In a purchase order, we can procure materials or services for all the plants attached to the purchasing organization. So we are in the first page of the purchase order creation. Now we see that header details, item details, and item overview details. So when we start this, first we have to select the document type. Now we have selected the document type NB, but any other document type based on the business process where we are going to execute, that we can select it, and also select what is the vendor, who is the vendor we are going to buy from them. And other details which are maintained in the business partner master like supplier master, such as payment terms or currency, will automatically copy to the purchase order here. And then there is a field called fixed exchange rate. This exchange rate will prevent any change from being made at the time of invoice verification. So this option is helpful in import purchases where the exchange rate with the bank is booked or locked in advance. So for the purpose, the fixed indicator is useful. Next, we enter the material and maintain the purchase order quantity and which is the plant where we have to get it. All these details we are capturing. The place where we entered the material PO quantity plant, this is called as item overview. And also we can enter what is the purchase info record. Here we see the purchase info record 53005. We can enter it. So purchase info record will bring the details related to the particular vendor and supplier so that we can fetch most of the details related to this material and the supplier to this purchase order. Meanwhile, to minimize the data entry, especially when when the details are repeatedly entered, we can maintain relevant values by clicking the personal settings and also the default values buttons, so that the repeated details which can be avoided. Here we see what are all the default values we can set. For example, in header, we can maintain document type, purchase org, purchase group, company code details. Also in the item details, we can maintain the item category, account assignment category, plant, storage location, those kind of things. So all these things system will propose, but user can change them, but it will be proposed. So because of this, what's happening? Data entry time will be saved drastically. These are all no small improvements will improve the productivity of people, and also they will not spend more time on this SAP for this kind of entries, but rather they will do good analysis to improve the performance. Now, in the header, we are also seeing the tab conditions. These conditions at the header level is applicable to the entire purchase order. Like all the discounts or surcharges maintained at the header level, they will be automatically and proportionately divided into the line item level in the purchase order. So this is very important to understand, so that all the details what we enter, it will be proportionately allocated. There are many other tabs in the header level. The text. Several options are available to maintain text for specific purpose, such as text for header, deadlines, terms of delivery, warranty, penalties for breach of contract, etc. The text maintained in this tab are not only helpful for recording more details about purchase order, but also these details can be used by the web programmers when they are designing any specific company layouts for the purchase orders. And then address. Address details are fetched directly from the supplier master, but can be changed or more details can be added if needed. Communication. In this tab, purchase user can maintain company's internal reference like supplier reference, which makes searching for purchase order easier. And then partners. The default supplier function will bring out the supplier itself is the goods supplier as well as the invoicing party. However, if the parties differ, like ordering party is different, but invoicing party is different, with the partner functions uh, features, we can bring another invoicing party, and these details can be maintained in this tab. So this is another point we need to understand, the partner function. This one we discussed earlier. This is the additional tab in the purchase order. Here we have a field called collective number. This is used as external reference to track and trace the purchase orders in various standard SAP reports. For example, when SAP goes live, a purchasing user can use this field to maintain a reference to the old the purchase order numbers in the legacy system, so that they can trace. For example, that was the old purchase order. So where is it the new purchase order in SAP? The link can be provided here through this collective number. Organization data tab contains details about the purchase organization, purchasing group, and company code. As already covered, these values in these fields can be configured with the default values to reduce the data entry. Status tab of a purchase order provides the latest status such as quantity delivered, invoiced, or still to be invoiced, and indicates whether the PO has been printed out or not, all these details. Now we are moving to the item details page. Under the master data tab, much of the information in this tab are copied from the purchase info record, but we can also maintain additional details like supplier batch, or even create our company's own internal batch number. Much of the information quantity weight is copied from the metal master and the info record. Like we discussed, we can add our details here. Also, the unit of conversion also can be under the quantities and weights this page. Here we have details which are copied from the metal master, like the order unit of measurement, net weight, those kind of details. If you want to maintain different order unit of measurement, that also we can update here. And net weight, gross weight details also we can capture here. Right. So there are many options which are given here to update. And here we see that what is the purchase order quantity and the purchase order quantity in SKU. If same order item has multiple delivery lines, then we'll maintain the delivery schedule in the delivery schedule tab. Further, if several purchase requests for the same metal are converted to a single purchase order, then delivery schedules of individual purchase requests are copied in this tab. So we don't need to worry, there is a purchase request combined one purchase order is created. So all these things we can maintain them as a individual lines in this delivery schedule. So here delivery date means the date on which the goods have to be delivered for each line. And what is the quantity to be delivered on the particular date? What is the time on the delivery date has to come? And this field, statistical delivery date, is very important. This date is used to measure the performance of the supplier. See, sometimes the supplier may postpone the supply. So at that time, we will maintain the statistical delivery date because earlier commitment was that only. Based on that only, you have to measure him. But in the system for MRP and other purposes, we should update what is a real date. So here we will come and update the delivery date. So we can maintain the delivery date for internal planning purposes. Statistical delivery date we will be using for the performance analysis of the supplier. So these two fields understanding is very important. Now we are on the delivery tab. If specific details are not maintained in the metal master or in the purchase info record, for example, over delivery tolerance, under delivery tolerances of the material, or the shipping instructions, or the planned delivery time, these details can be maintained at the purchase order level. And the packaging and shipping instructions, those things can be maintained here. Also, we can mention on receipt of metal, where should we post the materials, like whether it has to go to unrestricted stock, quality stock, or blocked stock. And also to send the remainder to the suppliers to send the metal on time, we can use it. For example, a negative number will enable the system to send a reminder to the supplier before the expected delivery date. If it is -3 means 3 days before. If it is positive, after the delivery date. Right? This is very important field which can be used. And then we have the delivery completion. This is used to close that particular line item of the purchase order. Means whether it is fully closed. If it is fully received, automatically system will close it. If it is partially received but we want to close this, using this field we can close that particular line from the purchase order. And this is complete delivery. This means we can give the instruction to the supplier that metal has to be delivered and complete. There is no partial receipt is allowed, only complete receipt is allowed. That can be given through this complete delivery. Invoice tab shows the item needs to be invoiced and what is the applicable tax code is required. Those things are maintained. Regarding conditions, we discussed in detail about conditions in the purchase info record session 0 to 25. There we discuss about conditions. So those conditions we can enter here, or this can be manually. The conditions can be entered manually so that we can also put the calculation of the materials. And in this page, we can also see the condition records display, analysis of conditions, and also we can update the conditions from here. Like at the header level, several options are available to maintain text for specific purposes, like a text for items, info record PO text, delivery text, info record notes, etc. Text maintained here are not helpful for recording more details about the purchase order, but these things can be used by the above consultants when there is a specific layout prepared for the particular company or plant. And there is a specific item level addresses for deliveries of individual metals can be maintained in this tab if the addresses are different from the plant for which the metal is purchased. The confirmation tab controls how SAP system should monitor the supplier confirmation of the purchase order. This tab provides options for maintaining supplier confirmation, including a rough goods receipt, inbound delivery, etc. After capturing all these details, we can check them. Now we have to first validate all the details are working or not. If you are satisfied with these things, press save button so that purchase order will be created and saved. After a purchase order is created, purchasing department may need to modify the purchase order due to change in supplier or change in metal quantity or to remove line item together and many other reasons. To change purchase order, ME22N is the transaction and menu path is shown here. Apart from doing the changes in the line items, a PO line item can be added for another metal or line items can be deleted. After the change, purchase order should be resent to the supplier. A purchase order should be forwarded to the supplier by whatever method is okay for the organization, like by fax or email or EDI and so on. If the supplier has already delivered the material against purchase order, purchase department will not be able to reduce order quantity below that supplier has already delivered. Also, if it is already invoice is given and it is received, then changes in purchase order will not have any validity. While doing the change in purchase order details, system will display the default, the latest purchase order. So in this case, click the icon shown here so that we can enter the required purchase order number and go to the particular purchase order and change the details. ME23N is a transaction used to display the purchase orders. So in this session, we discuss various elements of purchase orders and how to manually create, change and display the purchase orders. Now let us see some of the quizzes for this session to refresh our understanding. How to improve productivity of purchase order creation and make it easy and reduce the efforts of the users. Purchase orders are raised only for materials, true or false. What are the key details in the header section of the purchase order? Where to find out the status of purchase order? What is the purpose of statistical delivery date? So we'll see the answers for these quizzes in the next session. In the next session, we will discuss how to convert purchase request into purchase orders manually and also automatically. Meanwhile, create purchase orders manually as part of the practice what we learned here. Also, please give your feedback on our course and suggest your friends and colleagues to subscribe to our channel so they also get the benefit of these knowledge sharing sessions. Thank you. See you in the next session. Take care and bye.